Good afternoon, ladies and gentlefish, and welcome to Sportsballogy. My name is Joey. I'm a Legacy Maker sports contributor, and next to me is Chris. He is the magical other half of this show.
Yep, I'm Chris, and my mom bought this shirt for me.
Oh, well,
I mean, that's my claim. That's why I'm on the show.
That's really nice.
Yeah, that's my fashion sense.
Yeah, I reiterate, your mom sounds amazing. And then you'll be hearing from Randy later. He's our producer, and he's definitely a character. Y'all will definitely get a chance to hear from him. He's got some weird sports for us. I'm sure we'll hear from later. For now, we're going to go into segment one, which is today's sports news. All right. So this is interesting, and for fantasy football people that had Aaron Rodgers, I am at my fiance Katie. Goodness gracious, Aaron Rodgers tears his Achilles 4 plays into the 2023 season. So the Jets completely retooled their entire roster in hopes that Aaron Rodgers, could take them to the playoffs, maybe possibly a Super Bowl. I don't know that they would have gotten that far anyways. But unfortunately, that's not going to be the case because now he's out for the entire season because he ended up tearing that Achilles. So, but the good news for Jets fans is that, Rodgers did say he wanted to play multiple years. He is locked up until 2025. He's going to receive $38 million in guaranteed money. So even if he retires, he still gets that.
Right.
And then Zach Wilson will be their starter. Tim Boyle will be their backup.
So let me time out here.
Yep.
When did he sign on to the Jets?
This past offseason.
So he hasn't even been there a full year.
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this past offseason, the New York Jets completely redid their entire roster.
So this is like
specifically for Aaron Rodgers.
I was about to say this is like the opposite of what was it, that one team that paid that baseball player hundreds of $millions not to play for him?
Oh,
that's like the opposite. They're just having this dude ripped from them.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah, so they're paying hundreds of millions of dollars for him to sit injured on the bench.
Yeah. I mean, at 30, I didn't realize that 39 was the oldest player in the NFL. Like, I mean, I realized we didn't have much of 60-year-olds playing it, but yeah, I didn't realize 39 is considered geriatric for NFL. That's
yeah. So
that's a little insulting.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers is indeed the oldest quarterback in the NFL.
The oldest quarterback or oldest player?
The oldest player in the NFL. My bad. Yeah, and to see him go down 4 plays in, and I know that there was a lot of people that had him starting on their fantasy team.
Of course, he has a legendary name.
Yeah, and just to have him ripped away 4 plays in.
Did he even make it a full drive?
No.
For his team?
No. He handed it off a couple times, and then he dropped back to throw it, and then tore his Achilles and fell to the ground immediately.
Oh, so he didn't even get hit. He just tore it the way he stepped.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. It was one of those freak injuries that
he's not a freak, dude. I'd probably be offended by that statement.
Oh man, I don't know. But yeah, that was pretty crazy. To watch it was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the game was insane. Because the Jets ended up winning the game in overtime off of a punt return for a touchdown.
Okay. Yeah, because in overtime, the first team that scores, it's just over.
Not anymore. They did change that rule a little bit. Now it's first person to score a touchdown.
Okay, because it could have been field goal or touchdown.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, and that makes more sense that it's only touchdown.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit more fair.
Yeah.
Because that otherwise that gives the first driving team a real advantage.
Yeah. So it's the first driving team, if they go down and they score a touchdown, they obviously still win the game.
Right.
But if they go down and even just kick a field goal, the other team has a chance to come back and try to score a touchdown. And then if, for example, so say the first team kicks a field goal, then the second team kicks a field goal, then at that point, it's whoever scores first.
Okay. So then what if team 1 kicks a field goal and then team 2 doesn't? Does it end there? Team 1 wins?
Yep, team 1 wins.
Okay, so they get one drive each, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And so...
It's like sudden death from beer pong.
Yeah, pretty much. So on the Jets' turn, their offense didn't even have to come out on the field because they just took the kick back into the end zone. Okay. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And, yeah, I mean, yeah, that was wild. It was a really fun game.
And who were they playing against?
They were playing against, oh, good Lord, who were they playing against? I feel like it was like half a century away. Let me look that up real quick. I feel like
so his replacement, the
Buffalo Bills, duh.
Okay. Well, let's say if Aaron Rodgers was 100.
Yeah.
What score would his replacement be?
Oh, in my honest, humble opinion, probably like 57.
Okay, what about in a dishonest, braggadocio opinion?
Probably like a 20. Like he's really bad.
Okay.
he's shown signs that he could be good, but every time that he takes a step forward in his development, Zach Wilson takes like 9 steps back. So for every bit of progress that he makes, he just shows that he is not.
In what way?
Like he'll like, throw, like, run a really nice touchdown drive, like, like looks really good, and then immediately the next play we'll throw an interception.
I got you.
Yeah, like, and it looks bad too. Like it'll be like, he like gave it to the other team.
Throw it to the other player,
yeah.
Right?
It's really bad.
I got you.
On the other side of that, we'll talk about some really good, and Coach Prime and the University of Colorado is ranked for the first time since 2020 and already has more wins than they did last season.
Wait, say it again?
So Coach Prime.
Yeah.
So Deion Sanders.
Oh, wait.
Yep.
Oh, that's Coach Prime.
Coach Prime is Deion Sanders.
I got something to say about him.
Yep. So Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, and the University of Colorado. In week 1, they upset TCU, who was ranked. I mean, they played in the national championship game last year. So it was a really big deal for him to come in there week 1 and upset TCU. It was insane. And then...
No, let's time out.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Time out.
So on your notes here, Colorado's victory is a 3 touchdown. Does that mean that they were projected to lose by 3 touchdowns?
That is correct. Yep. So in my notes, I have it listed as... TCU was a 3 touchdown underdog, 21-point underdog, and ended up winning that game. They were predicted to lose by 3 touchdowns and then won.
Okay.
Like, that's how much of a disparity it was between TCU and Colorado, or at least what people thought.
Right.
And then Deion Sanders shows up and absolutely just upsets TCU.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it was insane.
So do you think, did he start doing his little victory dance? That like, that's like one of the very few things from NFL history that I know. That Deion Sanders doing his little dance into the end zone and getting tackled before he actually makes the touchdown. I do that dance every now and then. I was doing it before the show, but I
think his son did though.
Okay.
Like if I remember correctly, I believe his son did, because his son is actually the quarterback of the Colorado Buffaloes, the team he coaches. So
that's funny.
Yeah,
I like his. I've never heard of his son before just now, and I already like him.
Yeah, Shador. That's his name. Okay. Yeah, Shador Sanders. I hope that I pronounced that right for the record. But yeah, so then after they beat TCU, they go into Nebraska, and they get another win. And Nebraska is a really good football program.
Yeah, talking about the Cornhuskers?
Yep, the Cornhuskers.
If I know, especially college team name, they're probably pretty good. I'm just going to throw that out there. Like, I don't know a whole lot of sports teams' names, especially college. So if I go Nebraska, the Cornhuskers?
Yep.
They've probably been in the Final Four or whatever a couple of times. I don't know. What's that, basketball?
That is basketball.
Whatever.
Yep.
Okay, point. Oh, that's my point.
But yeah, I mean, it was pretty crazy. They stormed the field after, which was pretty intense. And then as we're filming this, so yesterday they played Colorado State.
Okay.
Which is not in my notes, which I probably should have put it in there, but they went into 2 overtimes and then ended up winning that game as well. So they're actually 3-0.
About what we talked about overtime earlier, just now, how do they go to a double time? Is college different than...
College is different.
In what way?
So college I like way more.
Do they like fight it out? They're like...
So pretty much, yeah. So in college, each person takes a turn from the 25-yard line. Like they don't put the time back on the clock. They don't, like, you start the drive from the 25-yard line,
okay.
And you have to try to get into the end zone, and you have to score a touchdown. I believe they go back and forth on touchdowns until like the 4th overtime now.
Okay.
And then they have to go for 2 points. So instead of kicking the extra point, you now have to go for 2.
I think we're skipping a couple of rules here. So, okay, so let's say you are team 1, I'm team 2.
Right.
We're in overtime. You score, I score.
Yep.
You score. Overtime ends. The quarter ends.
So it would be, because they don't do quarters anymore. They just take turns going back and forth. So,
okay, so then I would have a chance. I would have one drive.
You would have
to answer your
drive.
To
Correct.
answer your drive.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we would keep going.
I got it. No. So until somebody doesn't answer one. So if you didn't score and then I did, you would have one more drive to score or I win.
So no, because it would be
I hate this game.
So if you take your first drive, like, so if team A scores first, right, and then team B doesn't score, then team A would win. Right. But if team A scores and then team B scores, then team A has another chance to score. Right. And then if team A scores again, then team B also gets a chance to score.
I get that. Let's say team A doesn't score a second time. Then team B has a chance to score and end the game.
Correct, yes.
Okay, now, let's say team A doesn't score. This is what I was originally asking. Let's say team A doesn't score, and then team B does. Team A has one more chance to rebut.
Correct.
Yes. Okay, yeah.
Versus like the NFL, where like if you scored a touchdown, it's automatically over and we stop playing.
That's more like beer pong. I know I messed up earlier with the beer pong. That's more like beer pong. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you with college, you just keep going until someone doesn't score. Versus the NFL, it's whoever scores the first touchdown, essentially.
There's a joke in there about college and go until someone doesn't score, but I'm just going to leave it up to somebody smarter than me.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. Oh, we have a flag on the play.
Oh, do we? I should probably be watching the rest.
Chris gets -2 yards for messing with your ball. Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. Fair.
Okay, so excuse me. Moving on.
Oh, by the way, if any of you guys are listening to us through audio, we do have a video that we are actually shooting that will be up on YouTube. So if you want to see Randy's little quips and interjections on the ticker, find us on YouTube. Sportsballogy, baby.
Absolutely. Man, yeah. This is definitely a fun show. I do love doing this. All right. So moving on to the next one.
Before we do, because you've got some other stuff here about right here. So you got like half of that. No, you do it. You wrote it.
Fair enough. All right. So I guess to kind of wrap it up, my last note was Colorado's first 2 games, both broadcasted on Fox, were viewed by 7.26 million people and 8.73 million people. And I'm sure when those numbers come out, game 3 is probably even more than that.
I'm sure.
This
has bandwagon written all over it.
Oh, yeah, it does. Oh, yeah. You have no idea how accurate that is. My goodness.
Because there's one sentence in here that you didn't read, is that after beating Nebraska, they snagged their second win of the year, which is already more than they had in 2022. That is insane to me.
Yeah.
And I guess would speak to why Deion Sanders is now the coach and the other guy is not.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's a very valid point, though. And you're right. I did skip over that, and I really should have gone into it more. Deion Sanders is an incredible coach.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible coach. And what I thought was hilarious is when he got to Colorado, the first thing he said to every single player that was there, and keep in mind, he's looking at a 1-win team.
Yeah.
And this is before any of his players get there.
Yeah, I mean, he's talking to the Bad News Bears.
Exactly. And he looks at them and is like, transfer. I do not want you here.
Oh, wow. So he just went up and fired the whole team.
Yep, pretty much. He's like, if you are not going to work your hardest, if you are not going to prove to me that you are worth keeping, transfer. I don't want you.
Yeah.
And pretty much everybody transferred. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it's crazy because if you listen to the way that Deion Sanders talks about his team, like you can definitely like get that sense that Colorado is the hardest working team in the NCAA. I mean,
they're going to have to be at this point.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's pretty crazy. And you can tell by the way that they play too. I mean, with the fact that, yeah, those 3 wins were hard fought wins.
So which came first? Sanders' son in college, or Sanders? Did they do it at the same time? Did he choose Colorado because his son was there, or what happened?
No, so he was actually at Jacksonville State. They both were. So his first coaching job is actually his son's freshman year, I believe, if I remember that correctly.
Okay.
So
you better. It's going to be on the test after this.
That's fair. Yeah, good point. So they played at Jacksonville State, which is an HBCU, in a historically black college. And they went, and after a couple years there, Deion Sanders had like an unbelievable record, like absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it because I'm pretty sure I'm wrong, but had like 15 wins in like 2 years, which, I mean, they only played 13 games. Oh. So.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm skipping over the 2 years part. Wait, doesn't matter.
So in like 2 years he won. He again took a team that wasn't winning like anything,
right,
and took them to a perennial winner. And so then immediately gets the job at Colorado, and already this is his first season at Colorado, and in his first season he's 3-0.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, he's got some. I mean, something is in the water in Boulder, Colorado, because, I mean...
So are we looking at the football college equivalent of Emilio Estevez and the Mighty Ducks? That's kind of what I'm feeling here, man. Underdog team. All you need is a ringer, Deion. All you need is a ringer.
Yeah.
You know, when they had that one kid that could slap the puck really hard? Yeah, just get you one of them.
Dude, and he might.
Get you a hockey player that can slap the puck really hard, and you will win all these football games.
I mean, he might with his son. I mean, his son can ball out. They're already talking about giving his son the Heisman Trophy, which is the highest honor you can achieve as a college football athlete.
Okay.
Is the Heisman Trophy.
And how do they determine that parameter? Like, how would they determine that this quarterback was better than a tight end?
Honestly, like, it's kind of politics.
That's what I was literally just about to ask. Because the way that the story is, like, the 3 games in, we should give him a Heisman.
Yeah.
What?
It's kind of politicking. Okay. Like, you gotta, shake the right hands, kiss the right babies.
Deion Sanders' son's not gonna hurt, I guess.
Yeah. So it's very possible that he does get there. But yeah, that's a good point. But
I mean, as long as he's actually somewhat deserving of it, I guess it's not too big of a deal.
I mean, if the season ended right now, I would have to agree.
Yeah, well, I mean, what I was saying is like let's say he loses all of the next games.
Well, yeah. I mean, dude, I know a lot of people are going to say that there was a lot of dirty hits in that game, and I would have to agree. But Colorado State did give them a run for their money by taking them into 2 overtimes.
Yeah.
And Colorado State is not a great football team. They're just not in comparison to like the likes of TCU and Nebraska.
Right.
So I think it was just one of those things where like Colorado State came out and was like, go for the legs and try to like try to murder them.
We're gonna do Nancy Kerrigan all over you.
Yeah, we don't have any other shot to win this thing. Cut them off at the hips, and we'll go from there. Right. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty crazy. There was only one game that had more views than those two games, and that was the Texas versus Alabama game.
Oh, yeah. That's not surprising.
But I mean, my assumption would be that this third game, the Colorado State game, probably had more views than the Alabama game this week, or any other game for that matter when it comes to the NCAA. I mean, there's so many famous people there. It was ridiculous. Which, if you want content of that game, Legacy Maker Sports was there. So check out legacymakersports.com.
God, such a shameless plug. I love it.
Such a shameless plug. But yeah, our owner, Darrell Owens, was there. So, definitely.
Darrell's famous, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
He was there. So
he was there. He's also at the Denver Broncos game, as we're recording this. So
I worked at a Denver Bronco game one time. I was working for Verizon outside before the game started.
Right.
And I was like, I've been telling you want me to be the person out front. You want me to be the face. They're like, well, I don't know. We're going to have you back here. I was doing the prizes or something. Right. By the end of it, they had me out front because they one of the things you could win was this plastic, this clear plastic backpack. So I put it on my front. Right, and I put all the stuff that you could win inside. Like, hey, you want some of this? and it was against the Chiefs. I just moved there from Kansas City, and I remember I was just like, "Go Chiefs!" I would just yell it when people weren't looking, and people were, "Who said that?" That was fun. I remember that day. That was one day that I worked there. They paid pretty good though.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Dude, I don't know that I would have been brave enough to say that in the middle of Mile High Stadium or whatever they call it now.
You have shame.
I don't know that I have much shame. I'm doing a podcast with you, but here we are. No, I'm kidding. All right, man. All right,
too much fun.
We're moving on to the next one. NBA. This is probably our only not football topic today. We just went really football heavy today.
That's just how it ended up happening. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, at the end of the day, we're moving on. So the NBA, I'm really excited about this because this is something that really makes it hard for me to personally watch the NBA. But they're going to curb load management for star players by implementing these new policies that essentially say, and we'll go over it, here in a second. But essentially, they're like, you can't rest your star players. And if you do rest your star players, you can only rest a certain amount of them. And if you do that, you have to put them in the visible eye to where the public that is at the game can see them.
And I'm going to time out here. And we're going to talk about my segment. I'm going to talk about some of the rules and stuff for football. And that actually seems to be a theme for theirs, too, is at some point they started making rules for the fans.
Right.
Hey, we want this to be a spectacle. We are trying to make money at this. This sounds just like it because I was like, how do you know that they're resting a healthy player or whatnot? How do you know he's not hungover, man? He needs to rest. The lights are hurting his eyes.
Yeah, it's just one of the things that really keeps me turned off from the NBA. I'm a huge basketball fan.
Yeah.
I come from a family that was born and raised in Lexington, Kentucky, and when you pop out the womb, it is Kentucky basketball.
Oh yeah. Duke sucks.
Yeah, did you say Duke sucks?
Maybe.
Because if so, yes, queen. I won't hate on many teams, but God, I hate Duke. I hate Duke so much.
And mine's just a meme that I've been saying for 20 years. Fark.com, FARK.com.
Oh my God.
That's my shameless plug.
Fair enough. All right. So essentially, we'll go over the rules. We'll go over it just one by one. There's 5 main points to it. So essentially, no more than 1 star player is unavailable for the same game. Okay. So if you have multiple stars,
right,
you're not allowed to sit more than one of those per game unless they are legit seriously injured.
Now, when you say star, do you mean starter?
No, like star, like LeBron James.
Okay,
like,
so I mean, that would imply that not every team has a star.
I mean, that's true. I would say that. But I would say, like,
so then how do they enforce who's a star?
That's a great question. And
just like some scale, like you know what? I feel like he's a star today.
Well, so the NBA has this like kind of aura about some of the players where it's such a like a culture
larger
icon,
than life, like Dennis Rodman during his time.
Exactly. Yeah.
I got you.
Like you're.
So if they successfully develop their own brand,
pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Like your LeBron Jameses or your Kobe Bryants, rest in peace. Those kind of like larger than life personalities. That's what they're talking about.
I got you.
The example that ESPN used was like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, for those who are a little bit younger and may not understand the basketball stars that me and Chris fully know.
You say like I know anybody other than JJ Redick. That's only because I graduated with him.
Shout out Southwest Virginia, dog.
Yeah. I guess I went to the same school as Tiki and Rondé Barber, who held every freaking record in all the sports, it seemed like.
They still probably do. Let's be real.
Like the fastest pin in wrestling. They had like a track and field. Like what? I don't know what sport they didn't do. You know?
Yeah, I mean that's valid. That is valid. I know that when you go to the B-Dubs in Roanoke or the Buffalo Wild Wings, they have this giant Tiki Barber and Rondé Barber like jersey poster shrine thing.
It's been a long time since I've been there.
Yeah, it's like above the bar.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Roanoke, this area really has had like quite a few stars come out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah. But anyways, moving on. So the number 2 point was that teams must ensure that star players are available for national TV and in-season tournament games. So you can't have them sit out like a round robin tournament or something, and if it's nationally televised, like you want your star players to play,
right?
Because obviously, the NBA is all about like that. Got to have people watch it all the time. Got to kind of create this, entertainment value, which I wish more sports would do that.
Well, it's more of a spectacle, and I think part of it's because, like, if I'm sitting here, just kind of like armchair, talk it out right now. Just now thinking about it, it's more that with football and baseball, there's a lot of breaks. Like, there's a lot of time where you're not doing anything.
Yeah. That's
not the case with basketball.
That's true.
They're like same with hockey and whatnot. So I think it would lend itself more towards a spectacle than, what was that? There was a documentary about football, like 11 minutes of action or something, talking about how in any given football game, there's only like 11 minutes of play.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of clock runoff in the NFL, and honestly, that's a lot of strategy in football. Period. Like I know that Hokie fans, RIP. I'm sorry that I'm going to break your hearts all over again. But that was like Rutgers' like biggest thing this weekend during the Virginia Tech game is they just ran the ball and ran the clock. And the Hokies couldn't score because they never had the freaking football. Yeah. So like.
Yeah, but as far as the NBA, I think that's probably they're trying to lean into that.
Yeah.
Which, awesome.
Yeah.
That's fine with me. I like watching the slam dunk contest, NBA Jam.
Oh yeah, I like absolutely. All right. So another point was teams must maintain a balance between the number of one-game absences for a star player in home games and road games with a preference for those absences to happen in a home game. That's a lot of words.
Say that again? They must maintain a balance.
Maintain a balance.
Like are they pre-issued a number? Like they're saying you're only allowed to miss 5 games total?
No. So like essentially if, so they have like a list, right? Like baseball or football, like, like a 10-day injured list or a 15-day injured list or so whatever that may be.
Okay.
If you put a player on that list, or no, that's 1-game absences is what that says. So 1-game absences. So like if you're going to just sit a player for a game,
yeah,
they prefer that you do it at a home game and not an away game.
Okay.
Is what that is saying.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of the roundabout way of saying if you're going to sit a star player, sit them,
make it a home game.
Make it a home game.
Right, okay.
Because then your home players have a chance to see that player over and over.
And they're not talking
again.
about a balance, like an account balance. They're talking about like a weight balance.
Yeah.
Almost. Okay, I see what they're saying.
Yeah. And so that's their big thing is like if you're gonna sit a player, sit him on a home game rather than an away game, because a lot of times if it's an away game, the away fans are only going to be able to see that player one time.
True. yeah, I could see. I was wondering why that, but that makes more sense.
Yeah.
You know, if you're home, okay, I got it. That
so
seems counterintuitive at the time, but we explain it like that. Like, okay.
We got there.
Yeah.
We got there. So teams must refrain from any long-term shutdown or near shutdown when a player stops participating in games or plays in a materially reduced role in circumstances affecting the integrity of the game.
So no strikes?
My assumption would be that, like, that takes away the, to be determined list kind of thing. So, like...
About who's going to play?
Yeah, so, like...
I didn't know there was a TBD list.
Yeah, so, like, okay. for example, like, last year, the Washington Wizards shut down Bradley Beal for the last 10 games of the season with what the team called knee soreness.
Okay.
But, like, knee soreness isn't really, like, an actual injury.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
Right? So that's kind of their point is, like, don't just, like, sit a player to sit a player. Like, if he, if he's available to play, then he needs to play.
It's almost like were some NBA teams trying to game this system?
That's what it sounds like.
That's really what this like. They're people like teams are trying to take advantage of some sort of loophole.
Yeah, and to me, it kind of felt that way because it was like, when I watch the NBA, like I want to watch, because I'm more of a casual NBA fan. Yeah. Like I religiously watch the NCAA. But I only kind of tune into the NBA every now and again.
Yeah.
And when I watch those games, I want to see the best product that they have on the court. And a lot of times I wasn't, because every time that I would turn on an NBA game, it would be just a bunch of backups throwing the ball around.
I got you.
And so that's to kind of hinder that rule.
And that makes sense.
Yeah. And so then the last one is that if they are going to rest, you have to make them present to fans. You have to make them available to where fans can at least see them.
Right. Yeah. And so, it sounds like this is all to increase the spectacle and with the side effect of keeping the play or the teams from abusing that rule is what this sounds like. They want to increase the spectacle of it so that way when the cameras are on, they're getting the most bang for their buck for the NBA brand itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the penalty, I guess, so to speak, is if a team violates any of the above rules, it is subject to a fine of $100,000 for the first violation, $250,000 for the second violation, and $1.25 million for the third violation, and every subsequent one after that is $1 million more than the last one.
Well, okay. So the fourth one will be two and a quarter, and then $3.25 million, and then $4.25 million.
Correct.
So you're up like $15 million at this point.
Yes. So I guess in theory, you still could try to violate the rules. You would just pay.
How much is it worth? Is it worth $100,000? It might be.
Exactly.
If this is a championship game, it might be.
Right. If you're like going into the playoffs the very last little bit, you might want to pay the,
I'm sitting all my starters for this.
Yeah, exactly. And you could pay the $100,000 and give them a day of rest.
Just hope you win.
Yeah, for real. And so like you could definitely do that and pay that fine and probably be okay with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now that kind of adds a whole different dynamic to how that rule is going to play out.
I got you. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean that's pretty crazy.
That's pretty substantial rule changes for like one area of basketball, because it seemed like it was only addressing PRP, what player resting policy.
Yeah, the player resting policy. Yep.
Yeah, it's like all of these rules are only affecting that. So it really makes me think that they were trying to game something.
Right. Yeah. So, anyways, we'll move on to our next segment, which I am really excited for. We're going to go back to the NFL, and we're going to have Chris guess some matchups for Week 4 of the NFL, because we know that,
Is that what we're doing right now?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That is what is next on the list.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yep. And so this is going to be fun. I'm excited for this. So Week 4, because we know by the time this podcast comes out, it'll be Week 4 of the NFL season. So let's do this. I'm going to give you a matchup, and I want you to tell me who's going to win this game based off of some parameters that you make up in your head.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be because of what the product is on the field. And honestly, I would kind of prefer that it wasn't, just because I feel like it would be fun.
Okay.
All right. So first up, we've got a game that I'm really looking forward to watch. We're going to do Cowboys at the New England Patriots. So the Dallas Cowboys versus the New England Patriots.
All right. So, the thing that's popping into my head is how many movies of each have been made? There's been a bunch of Westerns, but there's not a whole lot of revolutionary. There's Mel Gibson, the Patriot.
Oh, God. That was not where I thought that was going to go.
Yeah, that's about it. So, Cowboys, they've got the newer guns.
You know what? All right.
They got the newer guns. They've got General, I don't know if it's Kit Custer. Okay. Not a good choice on that one, but you know what I mean.
And honestly, after being to Texas a couple times now, I would not mess with anybody in Texas. So yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Isn't that the state motto? Don't mess with Texas.
I don't know, but
sure
I'd believe it if it was.
I know it's the saying they like to use.
Anyways, moving on. There's a flag.
Flag on the play.
There's a flag on the play. I was waiting for it to come across the ticker, but I guess.
No, we just throwing flags.
Just throwing flags to throw flags. All right. The next one, which I'm sure Randy is. Everything's bigger in Texas is the official saying of Texas.
I see.
There we go. See, he keeps us honest. And speaking of keeping honest, he's probably going to throw another flag, because we're going to talk about his hometown team. The Minnesota Vikings are coming to town to play the Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
This is a fun matchup for me and Randy, strictly just because of the fact that outside of the Patriots, I'm a huge Carolina everything fan. So whenever Carolina and Minnesota meet, it's always a good matchup for me and Randy. So who do you think you got in that one?
Well, I guess it depends on who gets the drop on who, because Panthers are ambush predators, right? And so if the Vikings see him coming, the Vikings are very good, especially if you've got the Berserkers, they're like legendary hand-to-hand combat specialists. So, are they playing in a jungle?
They're playing at Carolina. So, yeah, they'd be playing at the Panthers home stadium.
Not very jungle-ish. I don't think the grass is even all that tall in there. So, I'm probably going to have to go with the Vikings, because they can see the Panthers coming.
All right. Fair enough. All right. So this next one I did for all of our local fans here, because, most people in this area are Washington Commanders fans. And then on the other side of that coin, I know that we have a ton of Eagles fans in this area as well. So we have the Washington Commanders versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
I think that they are going to team up with the Patriots against the Cowboys. It is just, there's two extremely American icons, your commander-in-chief and the Eagle.
Yeah.
They're going to go support the Patriots against these dastardly Cowboys. I'm going to have to change my first answer. The Patriots are winning. I didn't realize they had this kind of backup.
I guess.
But if I had to give a prediction here, how important was that one dude that got concussed that we saw earlier? How important?
Logan Thomas.
How important is he to the Commanders?
I would say, he's a pretty important part, but I don't know that the entire team lives or dies if Logan Thomas is in there.
Okay. I might go with the Eagles, because they can just fly so high that we can't even see them.
I guess, yeah.
They're going to swoop down on us. Yeah.
For the record, Chris came over a little bit early before the show, and we were kind of talking, and I had the Washington Commanders the Washington Commanders Denver Broncos game on in the background, and so that's where that comes from.
Yeah, that dude got hit in the end zone so hard, and I was like, well, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. And you watch it slow motion, like, nah, man, he totally wrecked that me.
All right. So last but not least, this one, just because I thought the just inherent name of like reading it out loud was really funny. Yeah. The Raiders at the Chargers.
Raiders at the Chargers.
So both of them tend to charge into things.
Right. And they're both Southern California teams, though, right? Oakland.
That is true. Yeah.
Oakland and San Diego.
Well, it used to be Oakland. Now they're in Las Vegas.
Oh, okay. Ooh, I've always wanted to go to Vegas.
Vegas is fun, man. I like Vegas.
Raiders, if I say you're going to win, will you buy my ticket? Because I'm willing to sell my my integrity for this.
So
they said no, so I'm going to say the Chargers.
They said no.
Yeah, it was too long of a delay. I can see it already. Yeah.
Somebody tag the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, they're not answering mine now. They're not gonna.
All right, so that was a fun first two segments. The Chargers won't buy you a ticket, though, either. You are probably right.
Yeah, well, I didn't ask them.
We're going to take a brief intermission. We'll be right back. It's...
Who will help pay the electric light?
This song goes out to Cartel Monkey. Rest in peace, little buddy. Cartel Monkey, what happened to you? Put on a vest and then they shot right through. Cartel Monkey, where did we go wrong? Hope you reach heaven by the end of this song. I will always remember you.
Welcome back to the show, guys. Dude, this has been fun. I'm excited for this next part. So we're going into I think we've been calling it Chris's book report.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be more of I don't know if the segment's going to have a title. Originally, it started off as me doing like book reports of me learning about sports, because the whole premise of the show here is that I just don't follow sports. I don't have it in me to do it. I just don't. And so I'm kind of the stand-in for the audience members that might be like me, that I like sports news. I like talking about craziness in it. I just don't have a team that I support. I don't have a particular player that I care to follow. And so I don't get as invested in the sports themselves, but I still like hearing, like last week we did the Black Sox scandal. That was really interesting. But this time, what we're going to do, yeah, it's going to be a whole year about this. No, but this time we're going to go over some of the beginnings of football, American football, and how the rules have changed. I figured since the season starting, it's pretty decent time.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that I thought football was, I didn't realize it was this old. The first actual game, what's credited as the first game, was played between Princeton and Rutgers in 1869.
That does make sense, especially considering, I've been invested in Rutgers for the past week now. For those who don't know, I've already mentioned it once, but Rutgers played Virginia Tech, and they religiously over and over and over again said the birthplace of college football.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, what ended up happening is Rutgers lost, which started a trend of theirs that lasts to this day.
Oh boy!
Oh yeah, I'm a hater. I will say I don't have an opinion against them. I just like jabbing from here.
Fair enough.
One of the they had all sorts of crazy different rules there, and one of the most interesting I thought was that you're not allowed to run with the ball. Right, so you had to kick or swat at the ball. You couldn't pick it up and run. But
Interesting.
if you caught the ball, you got an extra kick. So I looked up a bunch of different places, and the rules are kind of weird and vague in some ways. But when you think about how it was actually created, when you get into it, the final rules were really set up by Yale and Harvard.
Yeah.
And so a bunch of freaking nerds came up with this game that nobody else understands. And everybody else, what, there's something here. We're going to take it from you, nerds. And that's what happened. So basically, it all came down to a single game, essentially, for my purposes, was McGill, which is a university from Canada, versus Harvard. And they played 2 games. One with the soccer type rules and another one with more rugby type rules. And everybody liked the rugby type rules from McGill. And I didn't realize that Dave Grohl, the drummer from Nirvana and Foo Fighters, had actually said something regarding this. He said, America needs to thank Canada for football. And it's because...
Oh my God, that was in a commercial, wasn't it?
Yeah, they brought it to us. Essentially, it's like, and we just Americanized. We just took it over. No, it's ours, you nerds.
That's
just like we do.
Crazy, because in that, I mean, I know we're not sponsored or anything, but wasn't that like a Crown Royal commercial or whatever?
Can we be sponsored Crown Royal?
Yeah, seriously, because Crown Royal is delicious.
I don't know though. I don't remember that commercial or anything from it. Like,
yeah, no. So that's a legitimate commercial where he's talking about all of the things that Canada has brought America. Yeah. And at the very end of the commercial, somebody throws him a football, and he's like, "That's right, America. You can even thank Canada for football." And then the commercial ends.
And so, yeah, he's talking about this game because what ended up happening is everyone's like, we like Canada's rules better.
That's hilarious.
But I mean, in the end, it does teach good, wholesome American values, like stealing other people's land by force, and wearing tight pants while you do it. All right, so. But yeah, everybody liked Canada's rules more. And then after that, they kind of, there's a whole thing in several years of back and forth of how many players there should be, like 22 players per team, and then 15 players per team. And now it's down to 11. Could you imagine 30 plus players on a freaking field? There's already 22 players.
That's a lot.
It's so much. That is so much. But, a lot of this, and it's hard to give credit to the guy named Walter Camp, who's essentially considered one of the fathers or grandfathers of football, because all of these sources, they say that he's the father or grandfather of football, and that's it. Like, I don't know what he did. So apparently he's the father, grandfather of football.
Yeah, my assumption would be that, like, maybe he's the one who, like, kind of dumbed it down for everybody in a way that we could all understand.
I'm thinking he's the one that took it from the nerds.
Yeah.
Yeah. And before I get into these other rules, I found I'm going to read this, and you and I listened to this earlier. So this is how it used to be. In the early 80s, meaning the 1880s, the old rugby system scoring was a source of the number of disputes and quarrels. The system was not a numerical one, but balanced. It was a balanced one played against the other. Thus, a goal from the field was superior to the touchdown. But 4 touchdowns took precedence over a goal from the field. And if the question of victory involved safeties, then the side making 4 safeties less than the opponent won the game.
That is the most gibberish nerd lawyer crap I have ever heard in my life.
That's what I'm saying, man. They made this game that only they understand, and everybody's like, what, we like it. It's ours now. So, yeah, that's when we start going from 15 to 11 players. I always thought it was interesting that the field goal was worth way more than the touchdown. But a lot of the sources weren't clear on this either, is if you used to have to make the touchdown before you could make that field goal, and that's when the points, quote unquote, points counted. So I wonder if that's when they say field goal, they mean touchdown first, then field goal should count.
Yeah, I don't know. That's my whole thing is like, just for them to word it that way is like.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We're also 150 years removed from this, so like we're reading almost a different dialect.
Yeah.
You know, when they start talking in the other ones, it's like, if the ball be blah blah blah, they like start talking the old pirate Bodie talk almost.
Imagine, dude, like, immediately the image of pirates playing football popped into my head.
Yarr, you see that sack? Yarr.
Arr, get him!
So, one of the things that I also learned a little bit about rugby during this because it's one of the differentiating. One of what is called the defining difference between rugby and football is the concept of possession. So in rugby, apparently it's just everybody's in a scrum, and when the ball gets kicked out, somebody picks it up and does their thing. You don't know who's going to have the ball until that happens. Not the same with football. With football, it's yours. You set, you hike, you do whatever. So they implemented the concept of possession, but not the concept of downs. So what ended up happening, and I think it was Princeton that did this, I could be wrong. There's a series of games in this time frame called block games, where, for example, Princeton, they had a winning record, and they didn't want to lose this game. They said, well, if we tie, we still win for the record. So they got the ball, and they just never gave it up. They would get sacked, they would get tackled or whatever, and they would move it back and back and back. And then once it got to the back of their end zone, it would get put up further in the field. And they just kept going back. And Harvard was getting really frustrated at this because they couldn't get the ball.
Yeah.
So when they got the ball kicked, they did that. So the people in the stands essentially sat there for however many hours watching two teams just run out the clock.
Oh my God, I would be so mad. I would be livid.
And people started getting really mad about it. So and I think this is one of the very few things they credited Walter Camp with. I'm probably just trying to insert him to make it make sense of why his name is this. But they finally came up with a down system. And now you've got to turn over and whatnot. So you just, I would be so mad.
Right.
Especially with the prices of now. If I just pay like $500 for a ticket, I want to just watch it run up the clock.
Dude.
But apparently during that game, all the fans were screaming at the players on how to play the game. I guess that's been part of football since the beginning.
Right? I was going to say, that still happens.
Right.
Like,
that's the one thing that stuck through. People yelling at the players how to play the game.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I still have vivid images of every single one of my family members, including my grandmother and my grandfather, screaming at the TV, "You're doing it wrong!" Yeah.
So, over the rest of that century in the early 1900s, the points for the touchdown start going up, the points for the field goals themselves start going down, which kind of almost blows a hole in my theory of the touchdown needing to be first before what they called a field goal at that point. Like, it wasn't a point after touchdown, it was just a field goal.
Yeah. That
was worth more, which makes no sense to me. If I can get a guy on a 40-yard line to kick the ball, and it's worth 3 times as many points as running down there,
yeah, why
not just get a really good kicker?
Yep.
And you win the game. So I'm not 100% sure that I interpreted these rules. Again, like this, we're talking about rules from the 1800s that aren't in effect today anymore. So I don't know if they were really preserved like we would do today with them. In 1906, the forward pass is finally allowed. Could you imagine football without running or passing? Like, what is it at that point?
I don't even know. Like, you're just a bunch of kids running around in the playground at that point. Like,
no, that's foul. No, I was touching base.
Yeah, I legitimately don't believe that football is where it is today if that rule is not implemented.
In 1912 is when the touchdown and field goals are the current values that they are now, 3 and 6.
Yeah.
Now, this is when I had some questions for you, was when these things start coming in. It's just, in the 1940s and 50s is when we start getting into more nuanced rules.
Right.
Right now, we've got the rules set on how much these are worth, how many downs. Now we got to go through stuff like face masking, right? So, which honestly, I don't even think that was one until the 90s.
I believe that because for a while they didn't even play with face masks.
Right? Yeah. Could you imagine getting a cleat in your face?
Oh, God, yeah, dude. That would suck.
That would hurt so bad.
Yeah, it would.
So
I mean, I've been cleated on the hands before with like the baseball metal cleats.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's never fun. But yeah.
All right. So in 1946, the free substitution rule was nixed. What is that?
So essentially where like you could essentially stop the play, substitute whoever you wanted to. You can't really do that now. Now you have a certain finite amount of time to replace your players, to get different players on the field.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I gotcha. So in 1949, the free substitution comes back. I guess they were like, we don't like this. Let's and there were little caveats to it. I believe this is the one 1949 was adopted for 1 year. And in 1950 was unlimited free substitution was restored, opening the way for the era of 2 platoons and specialization in pro football.
Right.
What does that mean? 2 platoons? You mean like a backup and
okay, like gotcha. A backup and then a backup for the backup.
I see. Yeah. Okay. 1956 they changed the ball color because apparently it was white, and then they made it brown with the white stripes on half of it. We were talking about this earlier. The only thing I can think of, because again, I'm given no reason for these rule changes, so I just have to assume that it makes it, if you have the dark color with the white stripe and it's spinning around, it makes it easier to see as it's flying through the air. That
would be my assumption, yeah. And like obviously, like during the day, I think it would help because especially like with the clouds and stuff out there.
Yeah.
At night, I don't think it really makes much of a difference either way, especially now with the lights that they have in these stadiums.
Yeah.
But yeah, white with the white sky would be really hard to see.
Yeah, that makes sense. So then we go through a couple more. Like we've got the sudden death overtime. We already talked extensively about that. So
right.
I'm going to skip over those. So then I've got a note here that says 1974. Let's see what happened in 1974. One sudden death overtime period was added. Oh yeah, no, it's because of overtime. That's why I wrote that one. All right, so then, okay, 1980. Here's man.
All right,
I want to see some pre-1980 games because the rule changes place greater restrictions on contact in the area of the head, neck, and face.
Oh, and they still furthered that in I think 2015. So yeah.
Okay, because my list only goes to 2003.
Yeah.
Hold on real quick there, because under the heading of personal foul, players were prohibited from directly striking, swinging, or clubbing on the head, neck, or face. Mm-hmm. Dude, this sounds like before that, this was like the XFL.
Oh, it was.
Like the WWF,
Yep.
where I'm going to run and clothesline you. Dude, I got to see some of these games.
Oh, my God.
I got to see some of these games.
There is whole, like, videos out there, and I'm wondering if they're not copyrighted, we should definitely put some in the show, because my goodness, they are like high flying, high swinging. Like some of these people look like acrobats. Like one of my favorite hits from back then was a Brandon Flowers hit where he literally comes up and he's a safety. So he's in the middle of the field kind of watching everything happen.
Defense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm, yep. So he was in the safety position. So he's kind of in the middle of the field waiting for everything to happen. The quarterback throws to the wide receiver who's on the outside of the field. So he's running up the sideline, and he comes up and just straight bowls his arm out and just clotheslines this dude, flattens him to the ground, and just stands over him and does like the what kind
what's
of
up?
pose.
What's up? Oh, that's awesome.
Oh my goodness. It is the most
if we can find that. If that's not copyrighted, we should try to put that in here.
Yeah.
Otherwise, look it up yourselves, because I'm definitely looking that up here in a minute.
Oh yeah. So it was in college, but the same premise happens in the NFL. And that's why they made that rule change, because it was a free for all. I mean, you could hit anywhere, you could hit as hard as you wanted, you could like jump up and spear people. Like it was not a problem at all. And that's why a lot of like old heads, so to speak, like go around and they're like, they're ruining the game of football. Like,
I want to be able to break this guy's neck. I don't care what an accident.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay, yeah, because I definitely want to see, because I don't know if any of y'all out there even know what the XFL was. Didn't they try to bring something back similar?
They do have a modern version of XFL. It's owned by The Rock.
I thought it got canceled, though.
So they rebooted it again.
Right, I thought it got canceled again.
Nope. Yep. It's still there, man.
Okay, so XFL was like WWF, WWE, whatever you want to call it, the wrestling. They made a football league. And it's just as crazy as you think it was. It lasted one season. And apparently The Rock brought it back. I thought that lasted this one season. It was gone. I guess it...
to my knowledge, it is still there. You may be right, and I may be wrong. And if I am, I will fully admit to it.
Well, it's not like anybody watches it anyways.
But yeah, as of right now,
anybody's gonna know.
The XFL is still a thing.
I thought they changed it. I thought they changed it anyway. Brought it back.
It's still here, man.
Okay.
Yeah, the XFL still going strong. Just did a Google. It's still there.
Just did a Google.
Yeah, no, and honestly, my favorite XFL team is probably the one from San Antonio. They have the coolest jerseys because that was how I picked my team because there wasn't one in Carolina.
Okay. All right. So in 1999 is when the instant replay returns with the challenge system.
Yeah.
Did they have a challenge system before 99?
I don't know.
Okay.
I would have to look that up. I'm actually not sure.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, these rules, like they say what happened, but not what it was like before.
My assumption would be no.
Okay.
And they've added like what you can and can't challenge.
I know they've had a couple back and forths on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the clipping is now illegal around the line of scrimmage, just as it is on the rest of the field. And clipping, from what I think is clipping, from what I've heard, is if the defense player tackles the non-ball carrier, not hitting him from the front. So if they get him from the side,
that would be correct.
If
yes.
they hit him from the side, or if they get him from behind, then it's considered clipping if he's not the ball carrier.
Yeah, or you cut their legs out from underneath them.
Okay, yeah.
That was also part of that definition, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Is from the back, from the side, or from underneath, where you essentially cut out their legs from underneath them.
Gotcha.
Just because they were like, that's not safe.
Missionary only. Got it. So then, let me ask you a couple questions.
Look at that. Randy just corrected us. There was a challenge rule, but it was often over discussion. And my assumption when he says faster replay would be just like they had a little, like, just basic camera angle.
Not slow-mo.
But my assumption would be, not slow-mo. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then my assumption would be that it was primarily done through discussions. Just strictly because of the fact that they probably didn't always have access to that replay.
Gotcha.
Depending on whether or not it was on national TV or not.
Okay, that makes sense. So I guess my questions to you at this point would be, if you're no longer allowed to run the ball, who wins the Super Bowl this year?
Oh my God. If you're no longer allowed to run the football?
Who's got the best passing game, essentially?
Oh, man.
And only passing.
Well, definitely not the Chiefs because none of their receivers can catch the ball. Ooh.
I mean, you realize that like half of my fan base is Kansas City.
No, I know, and they lost. They lost their first game because their one wide receiver dropped the ball 4 times in a row. So I don't know that I'd pick them, although they have Pat Mahomes, who's like the greatest quarterback ever. I would say.
I think you may have just saved yourself from my fandom with that last line.
Fair enough. I would probably have to say it would be tough, but probably the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
If it was strictly pass only, just because they have the second, like in my opinion, the second best quarterback in the league.
Okay. Now, what if you were only allowed to run? No passing.
If you're only allowed
we're talking 1905 rules.
If you are only allowed to run, that is a no freaking brainer. It is the 49ers with Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
Not even close either. Like the 49ers plus with their offensive line and with the fact that Christian McCaffrey is a god. The 49ers win that all day.
Okay. So let's say the touchdown and field goal scores are reversed.
Baltimore Ravens, Justin Tucker.
6. No, so, okay. He's already predicted what I'm saying. We have not gone over any of this, and he's already ahead of me. All right, let me find a good one for you. I don't know if if I'm going to have one because
Yeah, Justin Tucker is an absolute, like, that dude's got an iron cannon for a leg. Like, it is pretty crazy. So yeah, if you're talking role reversal, that would be what I would say.
Okay, what if that 1980 rule was repealed? You're allowed to club and beat each other. Which team is the most aggressive and violent?
Oh man, after watching the freaking Denver game, oh my God. I would probably have to say the 49ers probably are like the biggest physically. So
it makes sense with the rush, with their with the running game.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I would probably go with the 49ers again, but the way that I saw Denver hit that dude, maybe Denver. Because, oh, man, they, like, hit Logan Thomas hard. I'm sorry, Hokie fans, but I hope he's okay. I really do, man.
I watched that hit, and I was like, oh, my God. Like, I don't even think by the time we started doing this, he hadn't even got up.
No. Yeah, he was still on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I really hope he's okay.
Yeah, no, that looked rough. And like I was saying, I try to give him the benefit of the doubt, like, well, maybe he was just trying to catch the ball and hit him hard. But, dude, when you watch that, he lines up. Receiver catches the ball in midair, and I don't know who that dude that hit him was, but you see him, like, he crosses down and then, like, headbutt that. It was a rough hit. It was a rough hit.
All right. So we're going to take a brief break. We'll be right back. And when we get back, we're going to have some Randy's Fantastic Facts.
Leads us on to our second focus point, the rule of our hands. Now we're going to adopt one of two positions. The first is the W position. Thumbs together, palms facing up in order to make a W. We use the W position when we track the ball and think it's going to arrive above our chest. The second is the M position. Use the fingers together, palms facing down in order to make an M.
Did you know you're supposed to make a W when you catch?
It's important to keep your hands held up, hands soft, so that when the ball does touch your palms, you can grasp the ball in a big hug to make sure that it stays in your hands.
Launch speed angle again.
Here we can see
And we're back.
Oh, man. I love it. All right. So we're going to introduce the third member of our crew. Please welcome Randy.
And the crowd goes.
Oh my gosh, whoa. I didn't expect to be here. Holy crap. Hey, oh my, I'm glad you took calls in. I've been trying to get through to you guys for years. I just want to say huge fan of the show, big time.
Long time viewer, first time caller. Yep.
How's everyone doing?
Dude, I'm doing good. How are you, man?
Doing good.
Oh, kicking butt, taking names. Been leaving plenty of messages for our fans watching on video. So make sure to check this all out on YouTube as well.
Yeah, he's been on the ticker this whole time. I can't watch it because I'll get distracted.
Dude, I try so hard not to get distracted, but some of the stuff that he says down there, it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's a constant ADD battle.
Oh yeah, yep.
Actually, something just to promote with it as well real quick, but we are also leaving little extra facts. There have been moments where you two have asked a question, something along the lines, hey, is this how this rule is affected? Or the XFL, we talked about that. Yeah. So I went and looked it up and left it in the ticker so people could find that fact while watching the podcast.
Yeah.
Just little corrections like that, but it's really funny. Oh, Chris, you almost stole all of my content accidentally, and I love you for it.
About Canadian football, like that's going to be great with what I say.
Yeah, so it's actually really nice that we gave everyone a quick refresher about football rules, because my topic, because our communication is always killer, is the CFL versus the NFL. Now, the CFL being the Canadian Football League that is currently running. And it is much, much different than you explained in the 1800s. So thank God, 150 years to 200 years of change has done so much, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess how should we start this? What are we thinking?
Start at the beginning. It's a good place, right?
Yeah. Okay. In the beginning, not the middle or the beginning.
Okay. So
You muted yourself.
Yeah.
Oops,
Randy,
I muted myself. Look at that. My bad.
I love being muted on an audio podcast.
So the CFL does have a lot of different rules than the NFL. When I went into this, I knew nothing about the Canadian Football League. I'm compared to Joe, I'm a bit more of a National Football League fan. I've just been a Vikings fan forever, so I know my National Football League rules really well. And no, the rules are completely different. Like, it is a completely different game totally.
After every hit.
And I'm gonna start on everyone's favorite. Wait, what?
Do you have to say sorry after every hit?
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, you betcha, dude. No, actually, I'm gonna start on our favorite topic, everybody's favorite topic, being money. We're gonna talk about the difference in pay, my friends, because this was astounding to me. We're going to do the averages and the highest paid, starting with the NFL. As of 2017 to now, the average for every player is about $2.5 to $3.5 million, which is awesome, you know?
That's a lot of money.
It explains why it's a sought-after job, you know? And in the CFL, it's $80,000.
There's a Canadian dollar. That's actually like $20 in American.
Right? There was something in the article specifically that I read that was talking about how a lot of the players have to get jobs in the off season. And I was just thinking how funny that concept is as an American of imagine Aaron Rodgers has his injury and didn't get paid or something. And now he has to go get a job at Dairy Queen.
I'm going to throw a caveat on that. Men's sports, because women's sports, they typically do have to have jobs for off season.
That's fair. Yeah, I guess I'm talking more specifically American football.
I know what you meant, but I
know what you mean.
For the record, just for our American audience, 80,000 Canadian dollars is the equivalent to just under 60,000 American dollars.
That's still a lot of poutine.
That's about right.
A lot of poutine, for the record. It's so good.
And so ironically, for the top paid person, they did convert it for that, which was kind of nice. But the top paid player that they had in their article was Aaron Rodgers with $50.3 million on his contract.
Canadian football?
No, American football.
No, in American football.
You said something about a conversion. Okay.
Yeah, no, good old Aaron Rodgers, a guy recently in the news, actually. My number one pick in fantasy football. That was a real good one.
I remember that.
But the top paid in Canadian football is a guy named Zach Collaros. I think that's how you say that. Zach Collaros. And he makes $550,000.
Okay.
I mean,
is that what bench warmers get paid in American football?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Dude should really just go be third string somewhere and just do nothing for the same price. I don't know.
For real.
Maybe he's just maybe there's just something keeping him to Canada. I get it. You know what I mean? We do weird things for places we live.
It's delicious. I actually went to high school with someone who currently plays in the Canadian Football League.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, we might talk about his team here in a little bit.
Joey Augustine.
Oh, cool. The name sounds familiar, actually, while I was doing research as well. But anyways, outside of pricing, right, another really big difference is the field size. This was really weird. I can't even picture this without seeing a picture. I didn't save one because I guess I wasn't thinking ahead on that. But the field is 110 yards long instead of 100 in American football, right? But not only that, the end zones are doubly long, being 20 yards. Instead of 10. The reason they do this is to incentivize throwing, because they want players to throw, so they give them bigger end zones and larger fields so that they have more opportunities to get the ball out.
I totally thought the 110 yards was going to be because it was 100 meters. And then, because it was a 1.1 conversion type deal. And then you say doubling the end zone, oh, okay, well, there goes that.
Well, it's something that I've noticed. Oh, my bad.
I was just gonna say, isn't the field goal posts in the field of play? So so you're having to also deal with trying to get a touchdown and also having the field goal posts. in the way.
That was something I didn't go over in mine because they moved those back in American football because people kept running into them.
Yeah, that's the first thing I looked up when because you were 100% right. That was my next note. And I looked up a video because I was like, there's no way they don't just like accidentally run right into that sometimes. Like it has to happen. And sure enough, I got a good compilation video of just guy after guy just thunk, just straight head knocking. It's so funny. And I feel horrible because obviously like that probably doesn't feel very good.
Do they use the H field goals or like two posts going down with a crossbar? Or do they use a slingshot like we do where it's one post and then it goes?
Nope.
They use an H.
The second one, yeah, it's a post, which is like even crazier to me. Like, ironically, when I used to play football in Minnesota, as a kid, there was a field that we played for high school that was built like the Canadian football, and they just let us play because like it's the same idea, you know what I mean? But it was so noticeably different as a player how that like affected everything. One other thing too I wanted to mention is it's also wider. So not only is it longer, but it's also like they get an extra like 2 or 3 feet on each side. So it expands the field out and allows them to fit more players like on the sides of them.
Yeah, and that kind of tracks with because what I was talking about, I didn't bring up the field size. The old field size was 250 feet by 400 feet.
Yep.
Wow.
So, I mean, that kind of, it seems like they just didn't go down as far as Americans did.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Ironically, outside of the pay, it almost seems like they want to one-up American football and everything because there's like one extra point here that you can earn, or the field is longer, or you know the amount of players. Actually, I think that's my next note anyway. The amount of players allowed on the field goes from 11 at a time to 12 at a time. And this is simply usually so they can have an extra receiver or have an extra person in the backfield or something along those lines. But yeah, just by one, like it feels so pointless at a certain level.
It seems to me that they were like, okay, whatever America did, add one, and we're doing that.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, and here's a place where they take one away. In the downs in regular American football, you get 4 downs, and teams usually take 3 downs to pass and run and get as far as they can. And if they don't make it 10 yards, they can choose to kick it or try to finish up that 10 yards in the 4 downs. In Canadian football, it's the same thing, except there's 3 downs to make the same amount of space. So you have 3 downs to make it 10 yards, but they have the line of scrimmage, which is where the defense and offense line up against each other. And in Canadian football, you need to the defense needs to be a yard off of the line of scrimmage, giving them a bit more room, allowing for longer plays to happen.
So you bring up the 3 and 4 downs. The previous rules, there were a lot of little tiny rules that I didn't go over, and that was one of them. Is that originally it started with 3 downs, so it sounds like America actually added one at some point.
I think it admittedly based on clips I saw. Again, I'm no expert in Canadian football, but the site I was reading said the 3s made it even. No, the 3s made everything work more coherently together, it appeared, at least from what I was seeing online. And that's because they have an extra rule called a rogue kick as well.
Okay.
So what the rogue kick is to kind of compensate for that 3 down rule because it's going to be harder to get further down the field at a certain point. They have what's called a rogue kick. And if you choose to kick the ball and you kick it all the way into the end zone, and the guy who's receiving the ball catches the ball in the end zone and chooses not to run out of it, you get 1 point.
Interesting.
So like
it's called a roguing.
Yeah, a touchback would get you 1 point.
Yeah,
okay.
And it's kind of incentivized not to run out of the end zone for the offense because the end zone is now 20 yards long. So it's not as easy as just like sprinting out of it. You might have to run 15 yards to get out of the end zone, let alone get a yard. So choosing to pick it sometimes is the right option.
I feel like if we saw Canadian football on the screen, we would wonder why the people are so small. because the field is just gonna look so much bigger.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess that's why Canadians don't like. Oh, we're just bigger. We're American. We're bigger.
We brought up rugby earlier, but that's kind of how I feel watching rugby because I like rugby as well. And like it you can tell the difference like immediately how the field size and the camera work like changes based on that. Like it's so different, you know. Let me see what else I got in my notes here. Oh, okay.
One of the things we do is we don't really coordinate our topics because we want our reactions to be genuine. So we run into issues a bit.
No, and luckily, again, like our topics actually, I don't think, after hearing you for a minute, I had a panic where I was like, oh no, he's about to say everything I'm about to say. Like, this is a problem. And then it didn't go that way. So we're good.
Okay.
You know, but the last thing I have on here is the final change is season length. Now, in American football, it's you play 16 games over 17 weeks, right? Or didn't they just changed that recently, didn't they?
Now. Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say they just brought it up by one. So you play 17 games and there's 18 weeks, right?
Yeah.
In Canadian football, you play 18 games and there's 19 weeks.
Well, yeah,
and there's 18 weeks only, excuse me. And the reason they do that is because there's only 9 teams in the league. So all teams in the league get to play each other twice.
Gotcha.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, which like sounds kind of fun, good for rivalries and stuff. The last thing I did was I have all of the team names here, and I just wanted to run them past you guys because some of them like, okay, keeping it real, this is just the most like Canadian stuff I've heard. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if Canadians had a football team and I knew nothing about it, these would be the team names.
All right.
Oh wait, they are.
So,
So, starting with number 1, the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going a solid 6 and 7, might I point out right now, because their season starts earlier, so they're almost done. Their championship's in November, actually.
Probably starts early because it gets snowing
Yes,
out there.
it's getting cold.
Yep.
Yeah.
The second one would be the Montreal Alouettes.
Okay.
That sounds Canadian. Yeah.
Yep, the Montreal Alouettes, also 6 and 7.
Alouettes.
We have the probably the most controversial name on here, the Ottawa Red Blacks.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know what a red black is. I probably should have looked it up, but honestly, I kind of like leaving it up in the air. So if you want to tell us in the comments what a red black is, feel free to do so. Perfect opportunity.
Yeah,
Always a place to do that.
Oh yeah.
Or if you're one of those people, don't tell us in the comments. I'm totally good.
Yeah, just yell at us for it.
Next on up, we have the Toronto Argonauts.
It's a tree.
What, an Argonaut?
No.
A red black. Okay.
It's a tree. So their mascot is a lumberjack.
Oh, I have all of their hold on, I'm being silly. I forgot I have this.
It's probably from Red and Black Flannel.
There we go.
I have all their logos.
All right.
Okay, so we have the BC Lions, the Calgary Stampeders, the Edmonton Elks, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and the Winnipeg Blue Blue Bombers. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So while this is kind of the end of my segment, I always get jealous that y'all get to play a game. So I kind of played a game with myself. I want to see which one of these teams is your guys' favorite and if I called it. I have it written down, so I will tell you if I got this.
Okay. All right.
I already know Chris's. Chris's is easy.
What?
Which
Yours
one's
is
your
definitely the
favorite?
Saskatchewan Roughriders. It feels like a DMX thing.
That's exactly, yeah.
Yep.
Did you hear me say that? Because I literally said that.
No, that's immediately like that's the reason I wrote you down for that when I was predicting it was because I knew you were gonna say it's because of the DMX connection.
That's hilarious.
I love. For those who don't know, I absolutely love DMX. He is one of my favorite artists. I don't care what anybody else says.
So for the record, Randy, whatever you wrote's probably wrong. Because of the fact that my friend actually plays for the BC Lions, I follow them pretty regularly. So they would probably, but for the record, if I had to pick, just not knowing any of them, I would have probably picked the Edmonton Elks. They have.
Dang it. Okay, I got that wrong then. I guessed you were gonna get put up the Argonauts because their logo is really cool.
Their logo is really cool. I do like the logo, but I also have a high hatred for every Toronto team ever. So
Don't tell Drake. Don't tell Drake.
So being someone I grew up in a family full of AL East fans, like Yankee fans and whatnot. So I can't stand the Toronto Blue Jays.
Dude, when I grew up, I wanted to play for them.
That's hilarious. I can't stand the Toronto Maple Leafs because I'm a Carolina Hurricanes fan. So yeah, I mean, I just can't like Toronto.
So there's various reasons for not liking Toronto.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's not just because of Toronto. Like there's like specific and varied reasons.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, we're going to take a brief intermission. We'll be right back, and when we come back, we are going to guess some ballpark food items. It's going to be exciting.
Play a little game. So, do you want to
Absolutely.
We're actually going to...
and just because I can do this, all right, everybody, I hope you enjoy this little break.
Hi guys, it's Chris, Joey, and Randy with Sportsballogy. Have you ever thought to yourself, man, I have money and nothing to throw it at? How about, I'm really tired of owning 15 yachts? Well, how about you put that money to good use and sponsor your own sportsbologist today? For only, insert amount here, you can help protect our sportsbologists from becoming even more ignorant about what goes on in the world of sports. From basketball, baseball, football, or any balls for that matter, you can make a difference today. Take it away, Chris.
Thanks, Joey. You know, sports blindness is a serious affliction, but for the same cost as just cups of coffee, you can sponsor a sportsbologist today. We'll send you a brochure with their birthday and other fun facts while you watch them learn and grow. Look at this puppy. Look at this little kitty. Won't you sponsor a sportsbologist today?
Welcome back, guys. We're going to play Guess the Price of this ballpark food item now. And at the very end, we're actually going to try one of these things.
Oh man, I can already hear my arteries clogging.
Yeah, right? Oh my goodness. All right. So the first one that we have up here is the donut burger. I wish I would have wrote more notes on these so that I know where they're from. But
let's just describe it.
Yeah. So essentially, it's a bacon cheeseburger in the middle of a cut in half donut.
Glazed donut.
Yeah, so these are served in my, just off the top of my head. I know that they're served at Atlanta Braves games, and this particular version of it is served at Citi Field where the New York Mets play.
Okay.
So the price that I have written down is the Atlanta Braves one.
Okay.
So what do you think that would cost? And we're talking just the burger
at the ballpark.
At the ballpark.
Okay.
Nothing else.
Just the burger at the ballpark. I'm also assuming that you're paying a little bit for the reputation of the donut burger. I'm pretty sure it's not $50,000, Randy. But his price is right, so we don't know.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Price is right
Fair
rules
enough.
here.
All right.
I'm gonna say $18.
$18. So I should put the caveat in there of the Atlanta Braves have fan-friendly pricing. So most of their stuff is a little cheaper.
Okay, so if we go fan-friendly pricing, $10.
$10 is actually pretty close. So this burger is $7.50.
Wow.
Yeah, that's for just the burger.
You can't even get crap at Wendy's for that.
You're right. That's what I said. I looked that up and I was like, there's no way this is the real price. But in 3 different spots, it says that's the price.
That's awesome,
so,
man. Next time I'm down in Atlanta, I'm stopping by there. I don't even care if they don't have a game. I'll just break in and start making my own.
Right. But yeah, so, I mean, that was pretty crazy. The rest of these.
3 for $20, $3.50. What a steal.
The rest of these are pretty normal ballpark pricing, though.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right, so the next one, I've actually eaten this one, and it is delightful, for the record. This is what is called the dumpster wrap.
It looks like it.
So this is from Huntsville, Alabama, and the Rocket City Trash Pandas.
Oh my god. Okay.
This is a hot dog wrapped in a quesarito. So that is
that what that? Yeah, you're right.
That is what that is.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
It's a quesarito, and inside the quesarito is French fries, hot dog chili, a hot dog, and then they have like a burger that they have chopped up and thrown in there as well, and then some jalapeno sauce.
Okay.
This is really good.
I would try that without the hot dog because that's like the most unappealing part, and it's the only part of this picture that I can see. It's like just see that one hot dog sticking out the middle of it. For those that don't know, quesarito, essentially what he's saying, he's got two tortillas with melted cheese in between them, and that acts as a single tortilla to wrap all of this up.
Correct. Yes.
$15.
$15.
Oh, wait.
Okay. All right.
Talking two tortillas.
Uh-huh.
Two different meats, if we're going to call hot dog a meat.
Uh-huh.
And hot dog chili, which is also meat. What kind of meat's in hot dog chili?
It's typically just like hamburger.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, I guess I would stay with 15.
So it's actually pretty close. This magnificent awesomeness is $12.
$12. Yeah, don't take me on the prices right, man. I'm guessing over on everything.
So yeah, this was really good. I had a good time with it. Charge your phone, Joe. Yeah, dude, I sent you the link afterwards for the record. All right, moving on. This is from the Toronto Blue Jays. This is a poutine hot dog.
It's just what it sounds like. You got poutine, which is shoestring French fries and brown gravy, on top of a hot dog. It looks like ketchup's also on it, possibly.
Yeah, this thing looks delicious.
I've been guessing over everything. I'm gonna say $6.
$6.
Yeah.
Okay. What would be your gut guess if that's for the record? What would be the gut guess? What was there first?
Probably about 10.
10? Well, you nailed it with 10 because that hot dog is $10.
Price is right rules, baby. I didn't go over. I still
didn't go over. But yeah, I wanted to make sure. Because like your gut, I wanted to know what the gut said.
My gut doesn't like hot dogs, but it was on that one.
Yeah. All right. So this next one I have also eaten. This next one you can get in Cincinnati. This is called Skyline Chili. It is served on spaghetti traditionally. You can also get it on a hot dog. So I will give you points if you can guess both.
Okay.
But you only have to guess the chili because that's the only one that we have the picture of. Okay. But you can get it on a hot dog.
And I will say this is actually famous to the point where I've heard of it.
Yeah.
I've heard of Skyline Chili. I didn't know that it was a ballpark food or anything.
So I don't think it started as a ballpark food, but you can get it at the ballpark.
Oh, that would make more sense.
Right.
Okay. So going.
It really does kick butt. He put it in the ticker that it kicks butt, but it really does. Oh, yeah.
All right. So we're going to go with Skyline Chili on a hot dog. We'll go with $8, and spaghetti we'll go with 13.
13. All right, well, take that down $1.
Yeah.
And you've nailed it. $7 for the dog, 12 with the noodles.
All right.
And it is really good. We'll have to try that one on the show one time because that one is genuinely one of my all-time favorite
I'll try that one. It was just the ones with the hot dogs that I'm just...
Yeah. All right, this next one, we are actually going to try in person. Shout out to my amazing fiance for actually making it for us.
She is a fantastic cook.
Yes, she is.
These are some of my favorite things that's come over here on Sundays.
Yeah.
Food. All right, so
can we actually...
So we get a second plate?
Yeah, for real. I know we're like super needy. But it does look delicious.
Right now, here's what we got. We got a waffle.
So it is I gotta pull up the text message because I done forgot. So it is a waffle bun. Yeah, we'll showcase that. So it's a waffle bun with hash browns, bacon, cheese, and over easy egg with syrup either on top or on the side, and we have it on the side for us. This looks.
Katie, this looks delicious.
This does look delicious.
She knows us so well.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, this looks incredible. Okay, so before we start digging in, what do you think the cost of this burger costs? This is the Atlanta Braves, for the record, but it is not traditionally served in their standard fare. This is actually served in one of their clubs.
And isn't this a Waffle House waffle?
This is it's supposed to be a Waffle House waffle, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. All right. Oh man. Yeah, because when you show me the pictures of which food you want to try, this is the immediate one. As soon as I saw those waffles, I was like, yep, that's got to be the one.
Dude, this looks so good.
$13, but if Katie made it, I'd pay $50.
Well, I mean that's valid. But so you're actually pretty far off on this one.
Really?
Yeah. So this one's kind of expensive.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This is $26. $26.
Oh my God.
And that's for just the burger.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, let's. I want to dig in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, bring us back to full screen. We're gonna get a little ASMR here.
I'm gonna just join y'all for solidarity's sake. What up?
Oh, you're going over top. All right.
Yeah. I know I must.
All right, I don't have any food with me, just for the record. They were gonna mail it to me, but the mailman didn't really like it, so.
Yeah.
I mean, that's valid. All right, so if you're going on top, then I'll dip.
When I dip, you dip, we dip.
I'm gonna just fake watch y'all. I'm actually just staring at a wall,
dude,
but
you're staring at me, Randy.
Look at this thing. This thing is insane.
That looks crazy.
This is ridiculous.
Whoa!
All right. I'm gonna go for the dip.
I'm like, do I fork it or do I just hand? I poured the syrup in, so I think I need to use a fork at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. He's saying just bite it.
Ooh wee! They just both went in for the bite. Oh, and we'll see who finishes first. This is a great race of
I'm definitely not doing that.
Food.
Oh my God, this is actually really good.
That was really good.
And we have a Joe first with the chomping win so far.
Oh my goodness, this is delicious.
Yeah.
I would pay $26 for this.
Yeah. Would you like to try some, Katie? I mean, you made it.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, you already made it.
You already made a second one?
Love it.
Oh
I got
my
syrup all over my
goodness.
fingers now.
Yeah, for real.
Wait, there's a second one? Hold up, I'm driving over in just a second.
Yeah, you're only like 10 minutes away.
Yeah, I know, right? Like,
honestly, I could
If
totally
you come
pull
over,
up.
I will make you one. Or I will have made you one. I know I'm like voluntarily telling her, but my goodness, this is delicious.
And your defense, she did say she would cook anytime we came over.
That is true. That's true.
It was one of the first things you ever said to me.
That is very true. Well, this is delicious. If you're ever in Atlanta, please go try it.
If you're ever in Roanoke, come out here.
Oh my goodness.
And if you're online, make sure to check out Legacy Sports.
Yeah, Randy,
Legacy Sports, we got tons of stuff. We got Facebook, we got Twitter, we got Instagram, we got YouTube, all at Legacy Sports, or Legacy Maker, excuse me. Legacy Maker SPN, or Legacy Maker Sports, depending on the platform.
Oh my God.
That was so good. I totally nailed that promo and didn't butcher it completely.
No, not at all. All right, guys.
That was fun.
That was fun. That was a good time.
I'm gonna put that beside me that in a minute.
Yeah, we'll see you. We'll see you next time we do it.
Oh.
Next time. My goodness, I'm like flabbergasted at how good that actually was.
Yeah, that was good.
God, I went like a whole hour not messing up too much, and right at the end, just dropped the ball. Almost like the Vikings this week against the Eagles.
Whoa! All right. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Yep.
Catch you, everybody.
Peace.
And scene.
All right, Chris. Let's try this one more time.